Hey guys, and welcome to the stream. I hope everyone's doing okay today. I'm still a little bit under the weather, so I apologise if I cough or splutter or anything like that. Big shout out to Anarchy, who was here first. I also see I Am Karcher, Aslan's here as well as George, Sleepokate, 159's here with one bit as well, with a, what bit's that? PogChamp bit, a PogChamp bit, one single bit, thank you very much dude. Ham Kenobi, Sashimi, ISO returns, Mr. Evil Genius himself, good to see you, good sir. Odin is here as well, Mjul, Mini Ninja, and Forever Madrigal too. So welcome guys, thank you very much for joining the stream, nice and early today. Apologies if the music in the background's a little bit loud, let me just turn that down. It's a little bit loud for me to hear myself talk. Okay, cool. So got a lot on the show today. We're going to be building my Space65, which is just here. We're going to be looking at the J-02 prototype, which is just there. And then after the stream, when we've done both builds, we're going to have a little bit of a chat about the IDB60 situation, the solution that Pingu and I have come up with so far, and how we're going to try and progress with that as well. So lots on the docket for today's show. If you guys have got any questions at any point, please do just ask away. And see how that goes. Sorry, I meant Upass and I. Sorry, not Pingu and I. Tuxkin's having his dinner. Nice. Guy Flawks is here as well. Yeah, so I'll talk about it briefly now before we start. But Pingu is a bit missing in action. We believe he's okay, but we're struggling to get in contact with him. He's also not responding to the factory, so we're really worried about Pingu, and we're not sure where he is or when he's coming back. What that means is that Upass and I have, or Upass has released an announcement where we're going to try and fulfill for Pingu if we can, but there's some challenges about that as well. So later on in the stream, after we've got started, after we've got up and running, then we'll talk about that a little bit more. But that's broadly the situation at the minute. Rope and Alchemist KB, Mr. Satanicist himself as well. Thank you very much for joining, guys. Excuse me. I'm still a little bit under the weather. I'm hopefully going to be better by Thursday. But yeah, I'm struggling with a bit of a cough and a bit of a sore throat at the minute. But not enough to stop me streaming for you lovely people. So, as I say, that's what we're going to do today. The switches for the Space65 have changed. I was going to use 125 gram vintage blacks, I think, but I found a box of tangerines that are 72 gram sprit springs. These are already pre-lubed. I found these in a drawer. I think I've pulled them out of another build at some point. So I'm going to be building with these today. So I think it'd be a much nicer board overall rather than a bit of a meme board when we get to that. The Borsdorf looking fancy. Yeah, the Borsdorf looks great. This is what we built last week. The Alps, Brown Alps Borsdorf board. Yeah, stunning board. Really happy with it. Check out that side curve as well. Look at that. Look how nice that is. Super duper nice. Really happy with that. So very much a big thanks to Darth WTF. Not sure if he's watching. He was last week, but very big thanks to him for producing the board, and very big thanks for him letting me have one to build. Well, let me buy one to build. I've also got another Borsdorf as well. I'll be building on stream in a couple of weeks' time. That one's still a kit and has. Oh, it's at the minute it's a little bed for Gator Ron. So Gator Ron is sleeping on the other Borsdorf at the minute, but the other one is just here. And as I say, we've got two choices of either a carbon fibre plate or a steel plate. I'm not sure I want to go with the steel, so we're probably going to go with the carbon fibre. But yeah, that's another build stream coming. Darth absolutely nailed the design. He did. It just works no matter how you look at it. It's just such a good board. It sounds great. It feels great. It's hefty. Salvan's done great work on the milling. Yeah, really happy with that. So those are the switches we're going to use today. They're tangerine switches, lubed with 205 grade 0 and with 72 gram sprit springs. So interested to get them in the board. I don't think the bot has pinged just yet. I am getting quite a few emails at the minute, so just give me a second. Just respond to that. Sorry, a few important things I need to respond to that. Yeah, so A Holland's here as well. Bot has yet to ping. Yeah, we'll make a start once the bot pings. We'll just talk. Good evening, A Holland. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm looking forward to your your laser cut boards that you're doing at the minute. So thank you very much for those. Monday, or Our Monday, first stream. Thank you very much for joining. I'm glad you could watch us live. On a daily basis, on a daily basis, I'll get it right eventually. On a daily basis, nice, thanks for joining, dude. Yeah, I don't use Colmac and I've never tried it. I have used Dvorak and I struggled with it severely. I'm too old to be changing layouts now. It's basically ISO or bust for me. And with the standard QWERTY stag or anything other than that, and I really struggle. I'm past the point of learning anything else, I think. So yeah. Glad to see you guys on stream. As I said, we will be talking about some other things. We've briefly mentioned Pingu and the IDB60. So UPass and I are going to try and fulfill that, and we'll come on to that later on. We do have the J-02 prototype as well. So I've got the prototype plate here and the board there as well. We'll look at that shortly. There was a little bit of miscommunication between myself and the PCB manufacturer, so we're going to have to modify this plate during the week to fulfill the fitment for the full right shift rather than having it split as the plate is here. So I'm going to get the Dremel out and fix the plate ready for the build stream next week. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll show you guys the prototype later on. We'll also take a look at GMK9s because that came in this week. In fact, we should probably start the stream off with that. Let me just move some things to one side. And we'll take a look at GMK9s. So I don't think this is shipped in the US as yet, but it did arrive here in the UK. I think I got it on Wednesday. I want to say Wednesday. But just to try and show you guys up close what it looks like and what the keys are like. This is what the set comes like. So nice little banderole. You know, nice design on that. Pretty basic, but really nice, nicely done. This is the key set. You do get a little extra pouch as well with the accent keys. So we'll have a look at the accent keys first. So on the accent keys, you get the standard beige enter for both ISO and ANSI, as well as the numpad and the escape as well. And then I'll just show you one or two of these caps up close. Pretty nicely solid base kit. Almost perfectly fits into the GMK tray. It's not one of these that leaves the GMK tray half empty. I do hate those little tabs. So this is what the caps turned out like. So this is one of the novelty that comes in base as well. So nice L9 U9 colours. Looks really nice, to be honest. I'm really impressed with it. A little bit sad that it didn't offer more ISO support. Amir, we'll have a chat later. But overall, I think the set's really nice. It looks really good. Legends and ISOs as standard with GMK. I think the beige really works as well on the grey. It looks good. And I'm really excited to see that there is the reversed colourway, which is basically the whole kit that's going to run in this colourway as well. So looking forward to that too. So that's GMK9s. That's not going to go on a board today. That's going to be going on the J-02, which, all being well, will be built on stream next Sunday. So we're going to be building that board next Sunday, but we will take a look at it today. Towards the end of the stream, once we've built the Space65, we'll take a look at that. And the J-02 is the latest in the J series. CAD work was done by Satanicist, who's Alchemist KB in chat. So thank you very much to Satanicist for the help with all of the CAD work. Very much appreciated. And for those of you interested, the interest check is up on Geek Hacker at the minute as well. So feel free to go and check that out in your spare time if it's something that interests you. Okay, still no bot ping. Interesting. The bot is taking forever to ping. Necroman's here as well. Good evening, Mr. Necroman and Mr. Petrov too. So Mr. Petrov says first. Yeah, okay. You can try. Is this the GMK Olivia copy keyboard? Absolutely. You know exactly how it goes. Nines is really good. Existentially, it's really nice. Yeah. Is Jay's background screen flicking for other people? I don't recall it doing this before. I think it's because the refresh rate on this particular YouTube channel is very different. Normally it's at 4K 60 frames per second, and today for some reason that particular YouTube channel will only run at 1080p at 30 frames a second. So I think what you're seeing is the dissonance between that camera's refresh rate and this camera's refresh rate, which is usually the same. So yeah, I think that's what you're seeing. If it's really frustrating, I can turn it off or just zoom the camera in a little bit more. Just let me know. Meister Guntapper says, good evening everyone. Good to see you, my dude. Good to see you. On a daily basis says, what are my personal favourite switches? Inks. I like Gateron ink switches. Luger 205 grade 0 and spring swap to either 72 or 78 grams is pretty much perfect for me. Oh nice, the background screen isn't flickering now, thanks. I think it's just on the brighter colours, but it probably still is, you just can't see it on the darker ones. That's probably what it is. Just do a manual ping in 5 if it doesn't do it. I'll let you do it, Sashimi. If it doesn't, whatever, it's fine. Gio says, when are you going to clean up that office, Jay, for shame? What's wrong with the office? It's pretty clean and tidy. It's pretty clean and tidy. I don't know what you mean, tidy up. How do I like the inks on a carbon fibre plate? Pretty much all my boards with carbon fibre plates have inks in. Really, really big fan of inks in a carbon fibre plate, including the J-01, which is at the side of me. Don't know if you can hear that, I hope you can. That's inks in a carbon fibre plate. It's on a stand, so I don't want to lift it up and risk dropping it or anything like that. Okay, in about 3 I'll do an at everyone, fine, I'll leave you to it, because I suspect the bot's not going to ping. If after 15 minutes hasn't done it, it's probably not going to do it. I'll do an at here, not everyone. Gio says, yeah, pretty much, pretty fair. Okay, so as I say, we are going to be building the board first. We're going to do Space65, then we'll look at the J-02, then we'll talk about the IDB60 group buy and how UPass and I are trying to help with that. So we'll talk about the Space65 first. I'm not going to be doing any infill today because the stream's a bit packed, so lots going on. But these are Tangerine switches. These are from Gateron. These are the original rounds, round 1. Focus please camera, there we go. Milky tops, orange stems and black bases. These have been pulled from another build, but they've been lubed with Crytox 205 grade 0 and spring swap for 72 gram sprit springs. Excuse me. In terms of the board, we'll take a look at that now. So I know we did have a look at this when I was having technical difficulties the other day, a couple of weeks ago now, but this is the board. Comes in a nice box. As you can see, Grey Studio, made with love by Air Potter. Nice little quote. I did get a red backplate, but probably not going to use that one. I just like red things. You can see it's got the Voyager logo embedded in there, which looks quite nice. Put that to one side. I have a PCB, Grey Studio. And then, as you can see on here, we've got LEDs for the indicators and LEDs on the side on an angle, which is a really unique take on them for the accent piece on the side of the board, which we'll see in a minute. Tools and feet and gubbins, which we'll have a look at shortly. And then here is the board itself, nice and neatly packaged away. So carbon fibre plate, this is a universal plate and it is the one we'll be using today. I don't have any custom plate files for this one, so I haven't been able to get a fixed plate for the ISO that I'd like to build in. So this is going to be just using this standard universal plate, but I think that's fine. It offers enough support and I like the sound profile of carbon fibre anyway. The LEDs that we saw on the PCB earlier on, you can see that there's some LEDs in this top corner. These correlate to this indicator here. And these ones on the angle on the side correlate to this nice accent piece on the side of the board as well. So that's where the underglow shows through. It does look a little bit like an iPhone. Yes, I will give you that. It does look like an iPhone with the bezels and everything else. Looking at the back of the board, excuse the fingerprints, we have got the nice brass bar with the Voyager 1 logo. One thing we did notice on stream last time as well, I think someone in the chat pointed this out, but the Voyager logos are very much a different size if the camera is going to show that off. I'm not sure how clear that is, but they're very different size. There you go, you can see just a little bit there. So very different size in terms of that, but I like the brass look on here, and we'll polish that after the boards are fully built. without much further ado, we'll take the PCB out of its plastic and get a little bit further than we did last time. Sashimi, thank you very much for the ping. Love me some gubbins, says Eskimojo. Yeah, I gotta love some gubbins. Pop those on the bin. Let's catch it with chat. Spack, says Eskimojo. Absolutely. I thought the bot was turned off because of the stream on Friday. I'm not sure. I didn't watch the stream on Friday. I haven't had a chance to catch up. Definitely looks like a sideway phone. Slippery Beats here as well. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Nice to see you. It's the new iPhone 11 XS Max Plus HD. Yeah, I'm still waiting for my new iPhone 11 actually. I ordered it the other day. It hasn't arrived yet. I'm hoping it comes this week. I'm going to blame Sushi if it double pings. Yeah, I'll blame him too. That's fine. John of Warrior says, naughty bot, no ping. Well, these things happen. I can see the manual ping now. Probably types better than anything Apple can make. Oof, nice. Thanks for that. Lube Helio says, hello. Good afternoon, good sir. Good to see you. Build, there you go. That's some details on the build there. Nokia Jun says, hey. Welcome to the chat. Dajkapov 6 as well. What colour did you get for the iPhone? I went for the green one. So we'll see when it comes. IDB60 situation says Tyne. We'll talk about it later on, but in brief, Pingu hasn't been seen for a while. He's not responding to anyone, or the factory even, so UPass and I are trying to come up with a solution to rectify that for all of the non-US buyers to make sure that they do get their boards. It's not a situation where he's run away with money or anything like that. We're very, very concerned for his welfare, but at the minute it looks like he's just not replying to anyone via social media. The cases have all been paid for and produced, and UPass has got all of the PCBs, etc. So in the absence of Pingu, we're going to try and see if I can get hold of everything to ship it from here personally, and UPass is going to use the profits that he was making from the IDB60 group buy to pay for people's postage here in the EU, or as much of it as we can. We appreciate people have already paid for it, but there is no access to Pingu's PayPal or anything like that, so we are going to try and accommodate that ourselves out of the profits from the US group buy, and then whatever's left over we'll have to ask people to pay a little bit extra for, which we really apologise for, but we'll talk about that later on. Vi 1337 subscribe with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate that. Nice to see a subscription. Quez here as well. J420 as well. Evening, J-Bert. Did I miss much? Not really. We're just about to start. Literally just got the board out of the box. We're going to look at it shortly. Then we'll look at the J-02 and we'll talk about the IDB60 a little bit more as well. Bot is alive. Woo. Who's the bot pinged? Nice. It only took it 25 minutes or so. Time to point some fingers. You're going to have to talk about your love of Reddit and how it's totally not able to be manipulated. Right, okay, Gary, you've brought something up now. I can't not talk about it now you've mentioned that. So, earlier on today, I launched the J-02 interest check, which we'll have a look at the board later on. I did put a post on Geekhack, and I put a post on Reddit as well. I was having a discussion with someone who raised some concerns about the board and its looks on Reddit, and I was open to having a conversation with them. I'm open to any criticism, feedback, or anything anyone likes to give me. For some reason, his post got downvoted, and then in retaliation, someone has triggered a massive downvote bot on my post. So it went from about 40, 50 upvotes down to negative upvotes in less than 30 minutes. But it is what it is. Reddit is just Reddit, and to be honest, it doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. Most people who know me know that I'm not the type of person to do anything underhand or anything anyway, and I'll be completely open and honest about everything I can be. So nothing from my perspective in that sense. But there you go. That's the story for you, Gouty. Brian must have turned off the bot on Friday for some reason and forgot to turn it back on. Fair enough. Finn says, I'm typing on the same colour Space65 but with Ali plate. Nice, man, nice. This is a whole yikes of a situation. A boop beep bep says J-02 is just recoloured JMK Olivia. Absolutely it is. That's exactly what it is. So is Midnight Rainbow. That's exactly what they are. They're just Olivia in a different colour. Looks like there's some tabs on the left side of the PCB you need to break off. No, the tabs on the left side of the PCB. So this is here is the LED block for here. And these ones are the LEDs on the side. If this focuses, there you go. So this is like a sideways mounted board that you can see that's just attached there, and that's actually for LEDs to shine through this here. Oh yeah, the board does have a little bit of something stuck to it. That does come off when I flake it with my finger, so if you do see this, guys, at any point, it's not markings in the anodization, it's something stuck on the board. I'll get that later on after the stream. Oh, I think Sol was winding me up. Oh well, if I fell for that, I fell for it, but thank you. I'm just going to put the PCB to one side, and we'll take the board apart again. First thing I'm going to do is just pull off the back plate if we can. Nope, it's a bit tight, is that one. The metal ones don't stick anywhere near as much. Swag Manora has a question. I'm just going to find the right bit for this, and then I'll take a look at that. I think we want this one. Perfect. So Swag Manor says, do you think that hot swappable would be the industry standard in a few years? I'm surprised we didn't see a big brand like Razer or Corsair pushing them out. So some big boards are hot swappable. So if you look at the Wooting, for example, that's hot swappable, and some of the other optical boards are as well, mainly because they don't need to be soldered. So I think yes, I think we will see some move to hot swap. That being said, I don't think that anything is going to change the fact that soldered is the bread and butter for most boards, and that's going to be and remain the industry standard. Certainly for the hobbyist community, because people like to solder things, and it's part of the whole build effectively. So I think in some circumstances, yes, it will change, and it'll become more prolific, and it'll be more open. More people will want to use it. Well, now I'll see if we can take this badge off. Gosh, this is really stiff. There we go. I'm going to pop that to one side. Pop the base to one side as well, and we'll come back to that later on. Just going to take the plate out again. Again, I'm not going to put the mount point here. I know we talked about this on stream when I started to do this build the other week. We're not going to put that mount point in, just to keep it on the sides mounted. And we may even remove these two as well and not put them back in at some point. But we'll see how the typing feel is with them in to start with. Please do not snap your SPAC. I won't snap my SPAC. I'll be gentle with my SPAC as much as I can be. We would still have a fairly rare customer service, people bending switch things. Maybe it would be, but the optical ones don't have that problem. That's why I think it'll be a thing for the optical switches, because they don't have any legs to bend. It's just an optical expression to determine the rate of the key press and the depth of the key press. So I don't see those causing any issues, and I think that it will be pretty open from that perspective. Big manufacturers don't want people messing with their keyboards, more chance of damage or RMA. That's true, that's true. Pennywise says, Jay, do you have badge wobble in your SPAC? No, as you saw, the brass one barely comes off. It's ridiculously tight. Never mind, it's brass. I do have a red one. We can try that later on. So when we get to the end of the build stream, if you remind me, guys, I'll put the red one in first, and we'll see if that one's loose and whether it fits. Swag Manora says, is this a very flat one? This isn't particularly flat as a board, no. It's got a little bit of angle. Alchemist says, this board is certainly growing on me. Yeah, I've always liked it. I think it's fine. I might take it to work and use it as a workboard. No pins for optical. Yeah, I think I covered that as well. Also, I'd be interested to know how many people with hot swap actually swap the switches and how many do it more than once. That's a good point. Yeah, interesting. Esco says, are we sure it's brass and not gold-coloured plastic? Keck. Actually, one of the things that I have done is so I've finally finished actually sandblasting proper my Dora 67 base plate, and whilst it is brass, and we'll talk about this on another stream when I actually do the build of the board, it's not the best quality brass, which means it has a lot of blemishes in it. It has some other metal mixed with it that kind of has a swirl pattern to it, and no amount of sandblasting gets rid of it. I've almost blasted through the board in places, and it hasn't cleared that up. I've also not gone really deep with the sandblasting. Most of it, it's just to get rid of the PVD and make it look reasonably like brass. But whilst it is brass, I think it's a very cheap mix of brass, and it does have some problems with it. So just worth bearing that in mind, guys. Where we're getting to? Rodri Stream says, is it possible to have a Raspberry Pi inside one of those keyboards? Some of them it is, yes. So this one, no, it's not enough depth in it. But some of them do have enough space in the back where you would be able to. It all depends on the design. And some are designed to have things like that put in. So yes. SPAC is best value 65%. It's good value 65%. Not best, but it's definitely good. Just this afternoon I had a problem with hot swap KL socket. It can be finicky and need to use a needle to bend the inside connectors to make contact with the switch legs. Yeah, that can happen. Yeah, okay. So I think we've got with chat for a little bit. What we're going to do now is carry on with the build. So first thing we're going to do is take the plate and we're going to move that to one side just here. We're also just going to put in the rubber grommets that go in to the diffuser, the indicator LED section. So I think there's a couple of these in here. We're just going to push these in, both of them in. We're going to put one in just like so, and then we're just going to push it down and into place, just like that. Then we're going to take the next one, and we're going to put that on top, and again, just push that down and into place like so. So you can see now, that's now got the diffuser just inside the hole there, and it'll just diffuse the light a little bit more nicely than it looking nice and bright. Or looking too bright, should I say. So in terms of the build, as we can see, this is how the PCB and plate line up. Everything goes like that. The side, the switches will hold the plate high enough to not interact with this board here, and to just one side enough so that these LEDs on the top will shine through this gap here as well. So I think we'll be all fine from that perspective. First thing to do now though is to lube and clip some stabilizers. So I have got these to one side already. These are all ready from when I did the build the other week, and we started this build stream and we didn't get through it. And for some reason I don't seem to have any inserts. Let me just grab some inserts. Some of these are already pre-clipped, so I'm going to try and get pre-clipped ones out of here because I have got some that are pre-clipped. Save us a little job. I'm not sure if there's enough. Doesn't look like there's enough. Okay, so we'll just go with ones we need to clip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 3 stabilizers here. One there for the backspace, one here for the ISO enter, and one here for the space bar. Okay, that's that all taken care of. So now we're just going to clip these nice and quickly. I'll show this really briefly. If you look at the base, you can see that there are 4 pins on the base. 2 of them, if the camera focuses, 2 of them are kind of raised up. So you can see that this one here has got a little raise off the base. And you can also see that this one here in this top corner is also raised a little off the base if I get the light on it just right. No, okay. And now it's decided not to focus again. So those are the 2 legs that we're going to clip off. So we're just going to take our flush cutters. I hope if I hold them the right way around. And we're just going to clip. And then we're going to clip on the other side as well. And then you're going to be left with just 2 legs on the base. Just like so. I'm going to rinse and repeat for the remainder of these. Flexaman has gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you very much, my dude. So anyone who won one of those, Tuxki, A Holland, Existentially Yours, TYMM2112, and Yarkeeb. That's a great name, by the way, Yarkeeb. Well done, guys, on winning your free gift subs. If I'm 100% honest, my Super GK64 is actually a crazy good keyboard. Only complaint is a 2U left shift. Yeah, so my argument with a 2U left shift is it does mess up the stagger on the bottom row. That really confuses my old head. Being a little bit older than most of the community, that is something I do struggle with. Tadar68 is best price to value custom build, to be honest. It's not a bad price, and it's not a bad board either for the price. You're completely right. NK65 gives it a run for its money. That's fair. That's fair. I'm going to pre-clip all my shit and get some drawers. I do have some clips in there. At one point I did used to clip as they came in, just to save me doing this on stream, but well, it only takes a minute, so it's not too big a deal. 2 shifts are a pain in the arse. None of my favourite keycap sets fit. Yeah, very few keycap sets actually offer 2U left shift. Yeah, you are now a sub, Mr. Holland, so congratulations on that. Okay, now that these are done, we're going to try our new lubing method again, which is really cheaty and probably not to be advertised, but we are going to do it. So we're going to pre-assemble these. So we're going to push in the inset housing into the main housing, and let's go 2 holes to the front, and the front is where the wire clips in. And then we're going to take the wire, we're going to push it into the base, into the second hole down, and then clip it into the front. You can see that now works as a stabilizer on one end. Then going to rinse and repeat that across all the rest of the stabilizers, and then we're going to get the lube out, and we will lube these with dielectric grease. That's one done. Don't forget to link your Twitch account to Discord if you are in our Discord server. That's very true. If you are a sub and you link and you're in the Discord and you link both of your accounts, you may see access to some things that you couldn't see before. Okay, I'm just literally assembling these really quickly now, guys. And then we'll give them a quick lube using the new method, which worked quite well for the E6.5 a couple of weeks ago. And then from there, we'll carry on with the rest of the build. Okay, that's all of those put together. First thing we're going to do is we're going to turn these upside down and we're going to put them straight into the board. We're going to take our dielectric grease in a squeezy bottle. We're going to squeeze that dielectric grease all into the base, just like so. We're going to do the same on the other side, just like so. We're then going to turn it the right way up. We go into the front where the wire goes. We're going to squeeze lube in there as well. Do that on both sides. Just wipe a little around the front as well to prevent rattle where the plastic touches the housing. We're then going to turn around to the back of the stabilizer and we're going to push lube into the back like so, and we're going to push lube into the back of this one as well like so. And we're going to place this into the board. And then we're going to move it up and down a few times to move the lube around and make sure it's fully seated in place. We're then going to take our screwdriver. This is a Torx bit that we need. Let me just find the right bit for this. Small Torx. I think it might be this one. Let's see how that works. Perfect. Okay, move that to side. Then take our small Torx bit. And we're just going to, throw it on the floor. We'll throw it at the back of the desk. And we're just going to screw these in gently. Again, when you're tightening these up, you don't want to squeeze the board too tight. You're just going finger tight, basically. It's just to hold it in place. It's not designed to go overly tight and damage the board. Probably do going up a size on the on the hex, the torque bit there. Let's try that. There we go. Okay, so that's the first one in. We're then going to move on to the second one. I'll try and catch up with Twat. Swag Manor subscribe at tier 1, subscribe for 3 months. Didn't even realise that his sub ran out. Oh, well, thank you very much, dude, for the sub. I appreciate that, man. Okay. Again, just filling up the bottom with lube. Make sure it's a nice, even coverage. Follow the wire inside. Nice lube around the edge as well. Same on the other side. And then into the back. I'll be honest, I'm not expecting these stabilizers to be massively good. That's because these are the new GMK stabilizers. So for those that you don't know, GMK and Cherry have changed the molds for their new stabilizers. So they've been retooled, as it were, which has led to a few problems. Namely in that, namely in the fact that they're a little bit more scratchy than normal, which is unusual because GMK stabs are usually really good. So yeah, interesting to see how that pans out, but these are from the newer batch, so there may be some problems with these, and they may need a little bit of tweaking over time as the build wears in and the board gets used a little bit more. Okay, that's that one done as well. Now we're just going to do the final one and try and catch up with chat. These are the new molds. Sorry, what lube is that? This is dielectric grease, just standard dielectric grease, the same dielectric grease I've always used from the same tube. Is this a new way to lube or what am I watching? Yeah, someone suggested it to me for the E6.5 build, so I did it, and to be honest, it's pretty good. Needs a little bit of tweaking afterwards, but usually it gets you 90% of the way there. It's definitely a lot easier, and to be honest, I'm all about ease of use these days. Your mileage may vary. Give it a try. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's entirely up to you. Please don't shout at me if you do it and you don't like it. But I kind of enjoy doing it this way. It's very much faster. It's very much easier to apply. Go. It does use a lot more lube though. It's easier to use more lube, should I say. In terms of the build, we're going with a 6.25 U space, so I believe it needs to go here. That looks right. Can't be there. Yeah, okay. So that in place there. Just screw these last two in. Again, just going finger tight. No need to over tighten. You don't want to damage the PCB in any way or form. So you're just going finger tight with this. To see why do so many people prefer PCB mount versus plate mount stabs? Because PCB mount feel nicer. They're more rigid. They're more secure. They're more robust, and they generally offer a better quality experience. They're also easier to lube as well. So there's a number of different reasons, but those are the ones that I would pick. I'm just going to put a few switches in place now to hold everything together and make sure that everything is looking nice and neat and tidy. So I'm just going to pop a few of these in, just sporadically around the board. One in each corner, a couple in the middle, just to make sure it's all holding in place nicely. Once it is, then we'll go through and we'll start to put the rest of the switches in place. Then we'll check for any switches that happen to be bent pins or anything like that. And then I'm just going to put another one up here just because the plate's a little bit loose around that escape key there. Okay, that's looking good. And then just one more down in this bottom corner. Okay, so everything looks okay there. Those switches are all flush into the plate and the PCB. Jodo Wag doing the build command, nice. The one part though about the keyboard community is that almost everyone boosts with code in the background while making pics of their board. Yeah, maybe. I wish I could code. I can't code, but I wish I could. My level of coding is print screen hello world. That's about the level that I get to. I can do a few little bits with Swift, but nothing major. But that's why I have developers that work with me. Acidic Pure is here as well, saying hey, and Tyler Durdens. Good evening, man. Mr. CYO Caps himself. Does the E6.5 VOD show much info on the lube method close-up? It does. It shows a little bit more detail than I showed it here, Gio, yes. So if you are interested in that lube method and you want to have a look at it in more detail, please do feel free to go and check that out. Basically, it's very much a case of get your lube in a squeezy bottle, plug it into the stabilizer and squeeze until it doesn't rattle or squeak anymore. And it works. It's easy, it works. Would I do it on a board that I intended to use every day? No, I'd go back to using a paintbrush and making it all nice and neat and even. This is just a very quick build. I would never do it for a customer board, but you just basically just move it around and it lubes every part of the stabilizer on the inside as well. So it's nice and easy to do. Chad says, what lube is being used in this method? That's dielectric grease, just standard dielectric grease straight from the tube. I can show you the tube as well. This is the same tube I've had since I started streaming. Silicone multi-purpose grease, which is dielectric grease. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Tyler saying hello now as well. He's been noticed. Okay, making some good progress now, guys. We'll get all these switches in. Dead excited to take a look at the J-02 in a little bit as well and show you guys that. I was pleasantly surprised, shall we say, with the quality of the finish and the fitment. So I'm really looking forward to showing you guys it and doing the build stream next week. Hopefully everything will be here by then. I'm currently waiting on some new gaskets. I can show you the gaskets that I've got as samples, and I'm waiting on some new ones at the moment. I'm also waiting on PCBs as well, but as long as those both arrive this week, the build will be next Sunday, which will be my last build stream for 2 weeks, as I go on vacation or holiday with my wife for her birthday the week after. So excited to take her away. The J-02 looks amazing from your Instagram pics. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. There's some more pics up on the Geek Hack thread as well. Gouty asking if I got the J-02 done at the same place as the J-01. No, different factory. Different factory. Slightly more expensive, but it would appear that they are more rigorous with quality control, and the finish and fitment of their work seems to be better as well. So yeah. I hope you booked with Thomas Cook then. No, didn't book with Thomas Cook. Yeah, we're all good. It's not Thomas Cook holiday. For anyone that doesn't know, Thomas Cook in the UK at least has gone bankrupt in the past couple of weeks. So yeah. What price range am I expecting for the J-02? I'd like to get it as cheap as possible, let me be honest with you, but a lot depends on quotes from the factory, the level of interest from the community, because if very few people want it, that'll increase the price. I'm hoping to do a minimum of 50 units, no upper maximum, but we'll see. There isn't really an MOQ, but we'll set it so that even if there's less than 50, I can buy it out and make it happen. A lot will depend on vendors. MyKeyboard.eu, who are sponsoring the stream today, by the way, they did send the GMK9 set for me as well. So big shout out to Necro and a Necroman. Thank you very much for the GMK9's key set. They are sponsoring today's stream. I was going to talk about them when I did the soldering, but we might as well talk about them now. If you do have any group buy needs in the EU, they are absolutely fantastic people to work with. They'll be running both my key set and the J-02, my board. So very big thanks to them for that. And yeah, take a look, guys. Take a look. Were there issues with the J-01? I didn't see any. So publicly no, but there was because 2 of the boards out of 15 came with some slight damage to them that I found unacceptable. One was a hairline scratch in the anodization, and the other one had a bottom row that wasn't fully sorted correctly. The rest of the J-01s were fine. There was an issue with the PCBs, which Martin is addressing at the minute, so thank you very much, Martin, for addressing that. So the rest of the J-01s, all of the ANSI ones, ANSI ones, will be built in a few weeks, I'm sure. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's a fox barking outside my house. Can you hear that? Can you guys hear that? Is that showing up on stream? Let me pause the music. And it's stopped now. But if it barks again, I'll see if you guys can hear it, because it is barking. There, do you hear that, guys? Can you hear that? Just, yeah, fox is barking outside. Anyway. Okay, you go. Yeah, you guys can definitely hear it now. Okay, I'm not going to stop the music anymore, but yeah. So yeah, where were we? Yeah, so MyKeyboard.eu are great guys. Definitely go check out their site. They're the vendor for most of the sets that run these days, and with good reason, because they're very, very knowledgeable, very reliable, and very, very nice people to work with. So both GMK Midnight Rainbow will be running through them from an EU proxy perspective, and the J-02 will be as well. In terms of a US proxy for the J-02, TBC. I have been speaking with a couple of vendors. No deals are formalised as yet. We'll see how that goes when we get there. Just going to grab some keys to make sure we get the correct bottom row set up here. I have got some keys in a tub just to one side that I can use for this purpose. Apologies for the noise. Necroman, stop making me blush. Stop being so damn good looking then, and then we might be able to. So I need 2 1.5U keys and 3 1.25, so that's 1.25, 1.25. That fox is really winding me up now. There we go. No spacebar in that one, interestingly. Okay. I have to grab a spacebar and check that as well. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, switch is done. Could have sworn there was a spacebar in there. There's a Nixie though. Nixie switches. Okay. So don't need that either. This isn't the key set that's going on the board, by the way, guys, so please don't feel like it is. Just going to rest these in the top now, make sure everything's nice and neatly aligned. Okay, so they're not 1.5U, there must be 1.25U as well. So let's get this side done first. Okay, so that's those done, and you can see we've got the gap there to the space bar. Just going to try and wiggle these keycaps off now, comfortable with those being in the right place. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same from the other side. All looks good from there. We're just going to make sure that the top fits and that the blocker's in the right spot. There we go, so you can see there that the blocker fits. And the spacebar's got to go here, and then the 3 keys are all in the correct place. And then we're just going to pop the spacebar in the middle of that there. So that should now all be in the correct spots. Try and take these off without pulling the switches out. There we go. Necros are hot. They are. I'm looking really forward to meeting you guys, actually, Necro Man and Necro Woman, at the UK meetup in October, which Bled and I are running. So looking forward to that. Best looking David in the EU is Necroman. Nice. Necro Woman is very, very helpful. Very helpful. She's AFK playing Zelda all weekend. Don't blame her. Yeah, nice guys, nice. Okay, so cool. I think the lube I ordered from my keyboard has been stopped by customers. They probably tried to taste it or something. That doesn't sound good. Dewey Vuitton build. There you go. Nice. I like that username. Dewey Vuitton. I love it. That's a great username. The Necros coming to Leeds. Yes, they are. I'm hoping the Necros, and this is me putting them right on the spot, I'm hoping the Necros are going to actually sponsor the Leeds meetup a little bit and maybe bring a couple of prizes for giveaway and things like that, because we are reaching out to vendors to help support the Leeds meetup. So it's on the 26th of October. All the tickets are now sold out, sadly. But Necroman, if you have anything you would like to give away, maybe one of Julia's lovely keyboard sleeves or something like that, that would be fantastic. And I apologise for putting you right on the spot there. There you go, sure. Goodies. I put you really on the spot there, so I'm really, really apologetic about that. But it worked. It worked. So I'm just going to get rid of this these bits of rubbish. 205 grade 0 tastes like lotion. Don't want to know why you know that. It's not something I would ever want to try, but good for you, my dude. GG, thanks. Pretty sad I'm going to London for my birthday 1 week before the meetup. I get back from Cyprus just the week before the meetup, so I'm only home for a few days. Step 1, give compliments. Step 2, ask for giveaways. Nice job. Hey! there is method in my madness. There's method in my madness. Okay, so that's the board all put together and everything. Now we're just going to check and go through. That fell out. There we go. Now we're just going to go through, check everything is lined correctly. So we're just checking first of all the switches are in the plate properly. That looks all okay from here. Now what we're going to do is just check that all of the switches are flush with the PCB on this edge. They look good. We're then going to just check them all along this back edge. Also looks really nice and neat and tidy. Can't really see down this side, so we're going to trust that that's okay because all of the front looks fine as well. The last check we're going to do before we start soldering it, we're just going to go switch by switch, just do a visual check to make sure that we see 2 pins at every single switch point. And then if we've got any bent pins, we can straighten them out afterwards. So we've got a bent pin on what is the ISO enter, so we need to come and address that, so that's 1. Just running through the whole rest of the board now, guys, just to make sure there's no other bent pins. All the rest is looking fine, so we just need to go back to the ISO enter key. See if we can wiggle that out. I do have what's supposed to be a switch puller here. There we go. And as you can see just on the base there, guys, that pin has been bent. We can get it to zoom in. There you go, focus. So what we're going to do is just straighten it up, like so. And then we're going to reinsert that back into the board. And we'll just check, both pins are showing, and they are. Okay, so now comes the fun part now, guys. Now we can start to solder. I would do my my shilling at this point, but I've already done the shilling for the Necro, so there we go. Just going to heat the soldering iron up, give it a clean, and then we'll go across. Oh, Necroman reaching out to Acid Pure there to have a look at the lube order. There we go. Chad checking out the build. What size stab do you use on the ISO big enter key to you? Yeah, it's basically the same as if you just imagine the ANSI enter key but turned vertical. That's all it is. It's a little bit wider, but other than that, it's exactly the same key. And no matter which way you look at it, if you look at the ISO and the key next to it, and ANSI as well, they basically take up the same spot. And if you look at it even more detail, ISO and ANSI are just 2 different ways that IBM created to split up the BAE, the big ass enter. So yeah, interesting stuff. And one was adopted by the US and one was adopted by the EU. Simple as that, really. And then Japan did their own thing with JIS. A lot of Asia still carried on with BAE for a long time. And yeah, that's about it. So what we're doing now, guys, is just soldering some switches across the board to hold it all together. So we're just going to go for the 4 corners and 2 in the centre as usual. What that's going to do is it's just going to hold it all together just in case I drop it, press anything, move anything out of position or anything like that. It's going to hold the whole setup together. And that's going to allow us to just be a little bit faster, a little bit smoother and a little bit easier when it comes to the rest of the soldering. Excuse me, my cough is getting the better of me. So now that's done, we're just going to go row by row. The International Standards Organization got it right, says Gauty. Yeah, International Standards Organization. I don't think it's actually. I think it's actually the International Organization for Standards. But then when you look at it in French, it's ISO. I think it's a little bit like CERN like that. But I'd have to double check. Eskimo Joe's agreeing with me. Yeah, I think it is a little bit like that. I think in the French it's international or international standardisation organisation or something like that. I can't remember. My French accent's terrible, but it's something like that. Okay, making some good progress here, guys. Just gonna nice and evenly solder this along the board. International Organisation for Standardization. Probably right. Loads of things like that. Your French may be terrible, but you just nail Spanish. Thanks, man. Thanks. Like the FIA. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So ISO is a word as well as an abbreviation. It's not an acronym, but it's an initialism, which are two very different things. But it is also a word in its own right as well. So yeah, it's all three. But I'm pretty sure that it's the French letters, or the French spelling that gives us the three letters in that order. I think. I might be wrong. I did once look it all up, but it was a long time ago. Okay, almost done with the first row now, guys. Once this row's done, we can then move on to the second row and work our way down the board. Don't forget the ISO enter, so we're just going to drop down for the ISO enter there, make sure it's soldered nicely, and then we'll carry on from there with the rest of the build. Thanks, friends. Doesn't stand for anything. The name of the organisation in French is Organisation Internationale de Normalisation. Interesting, there we go. Any news on the IDB? Did you talk about it already? Okay, so I'll talk about it now, and we'll get this bit out of the way. So everyone knows that the IDB 60 was run by Pingu and UPass. UPass is from Canon Keys, and Pingu is doing the rest of the world orders, whereas Canon Keys did the US orders. Now the board was really aggressively priced. It was a very, very low price point. There was very little profit in it, as is the European way. Or it certainly seems to be recently, which is one way of running things, certainly. And the group buy went without a hitch to start off with. All of the cases were ordered by people paid all of their invoices, and that was all fine from both UPass and Pingu's perspective, as far as we understand. The factory was commissioned. They made all of the cases. All of the cases were paid for by Pingu. That's even for UPass's orders as well. So all of the cases were paid for. Pingu also paid UPass for PCBs and screws and all the other little bits and pieces as well. So everything is covered in terms of cost for the production of the boards. Sadly, since that point, we haven't seen anything of Pingu around. So he's been missing for about 6 weeks on all social media, as far as we can tell. I've personally sent him a package that they tried to deliver 3 times. Each time it failed delivery. It went back to his local depot. It was there for 2 weeks and he didn't collect it, even though a card was left on each delivery attempt. And eventually that got returned to me, which got me a little bit worried. Darth WCF, who designed the Borsdorf that we talked about last week and was on the stream last week, he went to try and visit Pingu but couldn't see him personally, although his neighbours did say that they had seen him relatively recently, although we don't have any certain timescales on when that was. Since then, we've still had a bit of a silence from Pingu. There's been no updates from him or anything else like that. And even more worryingly, he's not actually responding to the factory either. So all of the cases were produced a few weeks ago, and the factory reached out to Pingu and he didn't respond, which got UPass and I even more worried. It's not a situation we want to be in where that kind of thing's happening. So from there, I tried to reach out to the authorities in his precinct, his local area. They looked at my notes. They sent me a bit of a cryptic email saying they couldn't tell me anything for Data Protection Act, but based on what I'd emailed them and what I'd said in my emails, there was no cause for concern. Now, I don't know if that means that they spoke to Pingu, or if they went to visit him, or if they just phoned him up, or if they just assumed from my email that there was nothing needed to be done. I don't know. But they said that they couldn't tell me any more for data protection. Since then, UPass has been ready to ship the IDB 60 cases later on this week. And because of that, we just wanted to address the situation and make it clear that, you know, everything's been paid for, everything's been produced, but Pingu's still not on the scene, so we don't know what's happening from that perspective. So really, really worried about Pingu, but at the same time, we don't want people to be without their boards wherever we can help it. So UPass is working with the factory to see if we can come up with a solution where the boards are shipped to me. And I'll try and fulfill from my end all of the boards out to everyone as well. Now this does come with some challenges. Firstly, we need to convince the factory that they can ship the boards to anyone other than Pingu, because that's not currently something that they want to do. So we need to see if we can convince them that's the right thing to do, or we need to get hold of Pingu in the meantime. Assuming that one of those happens, either Pingu will ship or I'll get the boards. If I get the boards, the next challenge that we have to get through is that I don't know who ordered what, in what colours, in what top styles, what PCBs, extras, all of that kind of stuff, because I don't have access to Pingu's records, and none of that was made public with UPass either. So that leaves us in a bit of a quandary, and to get round that, what we'd have to do is we'd have to ask everyone to try and submit proof of purchase, just to make sure that we're shipping the right boards to the right people, and I'm sure you can all understand that. I mean, that's going to be difficult, and it's going to be time consuming, but as we validate each one, it should mean that we can get boards out once the boards are in my with me. There is some additional challenge with that as well, namely the fact that everyone's paid Pingu for shipping and I have no money to ship the boards with, unless I pay for it out of my own pocket, which I'd personally rather not do. But what UPass has decided is that he will give everyone outside of the EU, all of the non-US buyers, outside of the US, non-US buyers, he will give a $10 credit to every single person that will partially cover shipping. So for all of the elders outside, he will give me $10 per person, and we'll use that towards the shipping. We'll work out what the difference between paying for all the boxes, bubble wrap and everything else is, and all of the actual shipping costs. We'll work out what the difference is, and then people will be invoiced with the remainder. Now, I appreciate that everyone's already paid for shipping, but it's either that or we can't get the board to you. I don't want to take the personal loss on something like this, because it could be a few $100s in terms of doing so. UPass has got no requirement to fulfill this, so it's very nice of him to offer all of his profit margin from the US IDB60 group buy to help pay for the EU shipping. But that's currently our plan, unless Pingu returns in the meantime, which of course we all hope he does, and we all hope he's in good health. But that's the current position we're in at the moment. So I hope that's really clear. I hope everyone's okay with that. If anyone's got any questions, then feel free to reach out to either UPass or myself. We will be opening up a form soon, and UPass is sorting out an email address where people can submit evidence that they purchased and paid for certain items, and we'll have a look at that as well. We'll validate everyone that we can, and we'll ship out whatever we can at pace. But the real trick to this is us getting hold of the boards in the first place. If we aren't able to do that, we won't be able to ship anything. So that's the first real trick. But I'm sure you'll all agree with me that we're all very worried about Pingu. We hope he's okay, even if it's just one text to say that he's fine, but that he can't, deal with the community right now or something like that. Then that would at least set my mind at ease. It's not really about the boards at this point; it's about his health, making sure he's okay. But I'm just conscious that the right thing to do is to make sure that where possible, everything he has agreed to ship can be shipped, whether it's him that ships it or a third party such as myself. So that's what we're working through at the moment. I hope everyone's comfortable with that. If anyone's got any questions or thoughts, concerns, let me know and I'll try and address them, or UPass will. But I hope that's fair enough, and I hope that's not going to upset anyone. Let's keep up to date with chat, see what's going on. IDB60 ships should start next weekend. For the US buyers, yes. UPass put on an update this morning, yes, that's correct. Muppin says, have you heard anything about the Key 65 and ISO support, or is it too late for this approach to come in? Not sure, I haven't had a look at the Key 65 for a while. EU bias, so I need the Pingu update. Yeah, I hope that covered it. Jack Static says, thank you for joining UPass for keeping things going and taking care of the participants. Yeah, we're doing what we can do. Yeah. Most people don't even know what they ordered anymore, since we could not look it up anywhere. Luckily, I have a Discord DM stating what I got. It should be on the invoices, I would have thought. I don't know. I haven't had a look at my invoice yet, but yeah, we'll need to have a look. UPass, yes, no worries. Thank you, my friend. And if you need anything, you know where I am, dude. Sounds like a crappy situation. Hope that everything works out. So do we. The main thing is I'm really worried about Pingu. That is my big worry. How Pingu's doing and everything else. Pingu didn't include the details in the PayPal invoice. No, we're hoping the amount will help. Yeah, we're hoping the amount will help. We're hoping we'll be able to work it out from that. Yeah, for the price, etc., we can at least figure out the number of tops. Yeah, and it might be that not everyone gets all of the parts they bought or paid for if they've done different things like different PCBs and stuff like that. It might be that not everything gets shipped. It might be a case of that we can only deliver what we can prove. I don't know. We'll just have to look at it, and we'll have to be brutally honest that it's not an ideal situation, but we'll make the best of what we can, and we'll try and be as fair as possible. Make sure everyone gets what they asked for in the first instance, in terms of what they can prove they asked for, and then if there's any other extras or whatever, and we can work out that there's some gaps, we'll try and fill those afterwards. For the most part, I hope that people are honest about what the top set shows, as that would make the whole process a lot easier. Same, very much the same. Yeah. The invoice was just IDB 60 or something, I don't know specifics. I'll take a look at mine and we'll see. Let us know when and how to submit proof, and thanks for doing it. Yeah, absolutely. We'll update, and we'll let everyone know when we're ready to do that. If anyone's got any suggestions on how we can identify stuff and validate stuff, then please do let us know, and we'll definitely take a look at those options and opportunities as well. So please do let us know if you think anything like that. Okay, whilst we've been talking about that, that's been a nice segue for me finishing the soldering of the board, so that's now all complete. With this being a black PCB, it does need a wipe down with some isopropyl alcohol later on, which I'll do after the stream, so please ignore the marks. The next thing we're going to do is just going to test that everything is working correctly. The board's been upside down that long that the lube's running out of stabilizers. Interesting. Okay, that didn't happen last week. Maybe I'll put more in this week. So what we're just going to do is just going to take the USB-C cable from my macro pad. We're going to plug this in here. That's all lighting up and looking good. I'll just drag up a switch hitter, and then I'll make it so you guys can see that as well. And okay, you should be able to see that now. So what we're going to do is just test that everything works. I'm just going to go through the board one by one, making sure that everything lights up as it should do. You guys can see with me. The layout will be wrong. I'm just making sure that the keys all work at the minute, and that every key's got a corresponding key lighting up in switch hitter, which it does so far. Caps lock's working. Okay, all of that row is looking good. Even the ISO key. Okay, so the other ISO key works, but it's highlighting space. Interesting. We'll fix that afterwards. At least it means that everything's working still. No issues with any of the keys so far. Space is working too, and we've got there, and that must be FN. So if we just try, there we go. That proves that FN works as well. So there we go. So the whole PCB is working. It might not be the keys that we specifically specified or want to specify, but we'll look at that off stream later on. I'll just recode it after the build stream is complete. And I'm struggling to get this back in the back of my slot. There we go. Okay, so for now what we're going to do is put the rest of the case back together, and then we'll put some keycaps on the board. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop the plate and PCB into the assembly like so. Now we are going to build this with just the two on either side to begin with, and then if I dislike the feel of that, then we'll tweak that later on. I'm just going to pop that in there, screw that one down. We're going to come over to the other side, diametrically opposed as always, counterclockwise, cross-clockwise, whatever else Talisman usually tells me they are, all those different options, but diametrically opposed is my favourite way to say it, and that's just to make sure that we even out the tension across the board where we're screwing it in a nice even manner. So I'm just going to go with those two, just the 4 mount points for now, offer the same flexibility across the bottom row that we get across the top. And that should increase the feel of the board. Next thing we're going to do is take the bottom, we're going to put this into place, line it up, and then we're going to pop a case screw in here. Oops, that's the wrong tool. We're just going to tighten this one up finger tight. We're going to make sure that the edges are as flush as we can get them. Not going to go too tight, because then we're going to come back up to this top corner. We're going to make sure it's just as tight and just as flush up in this top corner, and then we're going to put the remaining 2 screws back in, again going opposite, diametrically opposed. Okay, and that's the board put back together. We're not going to put the bump-ons just today because I'll need to program the board later on, but the bump-ons basically just sit on top of there, but they cover the screws up. So I do want to make sure the board's programmed before I put those on. So we're going to assume that that will be done later on. First thing I'm going to do is just have a look at this red one, because someone mentioned that theirs were loose. I know the brass one is really tight, and it's a press fit as well as the the magnet fit. So what we're going to do is just going to see if this one's loose at all, whether this one fits just fine. So there's a little bit of wiggle. Can you hear that? And it comes out a lot easier than the brass one. So that's the red one. So yes, I would agree. The red one is slightly loose. The brass one, well, that has to be pushed into place. There's no movement in that once it's in place at all. I can't wiggle that one at all. Get rid of switcher too. Okay, so that's the board now all put together. We know it all works. We know everything's looking good. It's now time for some keycaps. Just before we do that, I'm just going to catch up with chat, see what we're talking about. Paid them through PayPal, so easy to show. Yep, nice. If not, it might be his account. Yeah, I don't know. We need to look at the VAT. Is Boards off my new daily? At the minute, it is. Yes, absolutely. Couldn't trying to get hold of Salvan. Nice, yes. There's Talisman with the preferred tightening order. Yeah, thank you very much, that dude. Jay, are you increasing the venue size at intake for Leeds meetup? No, I actually went to have a chat with the Leeds meetup folks on Friday, because they concerned me when they told me that the room capacity had dropped. Turns out they'd made a mistake, and I rectified that with them on Friday after a bit of a harsh discussion. We came to an agreement. It doesn't mean that there's any more spaces for us to offer more tickets at Holland, but what it does mean is that we can probably have some people just turn up and we'll be able to accommodate them on the day, but there won't be any space for them to display as boards. We've got pretty much just the space we need for people to display the boards for the tickets we've sold and the vendors that we've sold tickets to as well. Anyone else would just be standing room only, in other words they can come and look around, but I don't feel like we should offer those tickets in case they want to bring a board or anything in the end. So and I want to offer them at a reduced rate, and that just gets really complex at that point, so we're not going to do that. Would Daily Clack's personal preferred tightening be just regular crosswise then? Yeah, if they're the Australian guys, yeah, absolutely. I would cut the bump on so you can unscrew when needed. Yeah, yeah, maybe we'll look at that later on off stream. I mean, I'm just going to build the board. It's not going to affect it when it's sat on a desk mat anyway. In terms of key set today, guys, we are going to use GMK Tokyo Nights. This is the first time I've used this key set since it arrived, so I'm excited to see what it looks like on a board. This was second hand, it's not a set I owned previously. This is the first time I've taken it out of the box. Okay, I assume the secondary keys that came with it actually all ended up in the tray then. Interesting. Okay. Looks like there was a tray of secondary keys at some point, but they must all be in here, I guess. Okay, just need to prise this out of here. Okay, that does make me worry a little bit. Now I'm going to go and check the the kits and make sure I've got all the keys that I did buy. Excuse me. It may not be a set for you, it may not be a set that you like, but it is a set that I like, so I'm gonna go with it. Okay, so first things first that I notice is that potentially some of the EU keys are missing, because this set should have the UK 2 and 4. We'll take a look at that shortly, unless I'm missing something and I've put the other keys to one side. Should still be able to cover the board though. Okay. Good set, yeah, it's a nice set. Underrated set, yeah, I agree. Do you have Purple York set? No, Mike's shipping me some, but they haven't arrived as yet. Hopefully they'll arrive soon. I'm excited to try them out. I haven't got them as yet. 2 and 3 Shirley. I'm pretty sure that the 2 and 3 were in the base kit. They should be here. If someone wants to look on Originative for me and have a look and see if that was the case or if I'm mistaken or not. But I'm pretty sure that that they should be in there. That's the wrong key. That's the right key. And we're going to go for FN. I'm going to put FN over on the side here because that's just my preferred way of doing it. And then we'll go with that teal and black is nice. Nice, yes. So this is actually the colour of the keys that will be on GMK Midnight Rainbow as well, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure this is the stock DV purple. Gio said, sorry, they are in the base as undercover brother. Well, that's not concerned. Yeah, I thought there should be. I could have just put them to one side and missed them, perhaps. I'm not sure, but it does look like they're missing at the minute, which is frustrating because, well, I like my UK keys. That's part of the reason why I bought this set. If not, I can always reach out to the seller and see if they still have them, see if they've just misplaced them. Okay, I'll just go through this and okay, this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking so far. We'll need step caps lock because that's what we built the board with, so I'm just going to use that key here. Wish the purple was high contrast. It's pretty high contrast. It's not difficult to see on here. I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see, and you can see that there's no, to me there's no worries on this particular set with the contrast. That's pretty legible. It's pretty easily readable across all different angles. Even with the light shining on it, it's pretty easy to read. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. I don't think it's difficult to see at all. So yeah, I think it's fine. So I don't think it needs to be high contrast UPass, but I get why you might think that. I get why you might think that. Better contrast than BT, yeah. Damn That Tokyo Nights looks great. Should pick up a set. So many GMK sets, yeah. There's a ton. Thanks for looking as well, Gouty. I'll have to message the seller of the set and see if they've still got the keys, because it's interesting that they've got some of the UK keys and then not the other two. Either that, or perhaps I have put them to one side, or perhaps my proxy did as well, who is Brian. I'll have to have a chat with him, see if he misplaced just a couple of keys or something like that. Okay, almost there now, guys. Okay, definitely didn't put them underneath. No, definitely not here. Just check that they're not still in the banderole. I don't think they are. Check nothing got left in there. No, nothing in the banderole either. I should have checked that before anything. I did ask him if he got the UK keys when I bought it, and he said yes, so I can only assume that they've just got lost or waylaid or something. But anyway, here we go, guys. This is the Space65. I think now I've put this set on it, I'm going to have to fill this in with cyan, the little logo down here. You probably can't see it for the light, but I'm going to have to infill that with cyan to match the keycaps, I think. Brian is good at losing keys. Oof, oof, yeah, that's true. This is a personal keyboard, yes. So KVS was asking, is this build for you, is it for someone else? Most of my builds are for me. This one, no exception. As you can see there, the board looks nice with Tokyo Nights on, that fits it really well. Brass back, nice and shiny. Just on the underside of this board, you'll see we've got the logos here as well. I'm probably not going to infill these on my personal one, maybe white for these two, and cyan for that. I don't know. We'll see, because I think the cyan had matched nicely with these. But yeah, really happy with that. And that looks good. We'll do a sound test in a minute. Let's just catch up with chat. Anarchy says, too many key sets, to be honest. I'm surprised GMK can keep up with demand. Yeah, they're increasing the number of machines they have, so that's it. UB throwing shade at Brian. Has a habit of losing keys, yes. 25% manufacturing bumpers, Geo says, for GMK soon. Space65 is looking good. I managed to pick a brass badge in the US before I left. Nice. SPAC says you passed, yep. What kind of colour are you using for the infill? When I do it, I'll probably try and match this cyan here. So this is like a tealy cyan colour. I've got some cyan paint that's a darker blue than this. It's probably closer to this sort of colour. What I'll do is I'll add some white and I'll try and match this colour, and I'll infill this with that. And then on the back, I'll probably do the space in white and the 65 in teal, or maybe I'll do the space in black and the 65 in teal and the grey studio all in white, but it won't be on stream today. And I do need to clean this off the board here. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there's some sort of machining dirt or something on there, which does flake off, but it's quite hard and firm. So I'm gonna scrape that off with some baby wipes later on as well. What key set is it? This is GMK Tokyo Nights. This is the key set banderole. There you go, Tokyo Nights. Hold this around so you can read it. There you go. It does look like a damn nice board. Makes me wish I got into the hobby early with these nice boards I missed out on. There'll always be more coming. Yes, but what kind of paint? Acrylic paint, and it's got to be water-based acrylic paint, not oil-based acrylic paint. There are both types. Make sure it's water-based. Every time Jay puts fingers on the brass badge, I cringe. Oh well, oh well. Good Seed says, have you already talked about the IBD stuff? Yes, I have. You'll be able to go back and watch it on the VOD, but the basis is Pingu is missing in action. We can't get hold of him. We're very, very worried about him. The factory has all of the cases completed. The US ones are all shipped to UPass. He'll be shipping them soon. The EU and rest of the world ones, well, they're with the factory. They only want to ship to Pingu, but if we can convince them to ship to me, I'll try and fulfill orders as best as I can. For that, I'll need people to submit the orders that they have made and have proof of that, so PayPal receipts, that kind of stuff. Once we've got that through, the next step will be to address shipping. UPass has been kind enough to offer all of his profits from the US group buy to alleviate the pain, because everyone's already paid for shipping from the EU, but we don't have access to those funds because they're locked in Pingu's PayPal account. So what we'll try and do is we'll try and pay as much of that as we can with what profits UPass is able to share. Beyond that, we will have to invoice a small amount for the remainder of shipping. So I'm hoping to keep that to less than $10, $15, but we'll try and do it as best we can. It all depends on that. So that's the situation it is in a nutshell. If you want to read any more about it, go back through and have a look at the VOD when it's up on YouTube shortly, because I did discuss it at length whilst I was soldering the board. So it's a nice, easy way to timestamp it. Quentin says, should I send Jason German keyboard streamer approved soldering gloves to remedy that problem? Yeah, go for it. You send them, I'll wear it. That's fine. So that's the board, guys. Let's do a quick sound test, and then we'll take a look at the J-02 prototype, and then we'll finish the stream from there. So this is the Space65 with lubed tangerines with 205 grade 0, GMK Tokyo Nights on the board as well. I think it all sounds pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it. The modified keys sound pretty good. The spacebar has a bit of a thunk to it, so I might have to look at the spacebar. The stabs are fine. There's no problems with any of the stabs. They all feel and look good. There's no rattle anywhere. Maybe a tiny bit on this side. I can't replicate that now. No rattle in the stabs, just a thunk on the spacebar, so that's the only thing to do. Probably put a little bit of foam just underneath the spacebar on the bottom of the case, just try and reduce that solid sound. But other than that, I think the board sounds pretty good. There we go. Let's catch up and see what people think. Space is such an outstanding board. Typing on mine, yeah, it's good. Yeah, nice sound everywhere apart from the spacebar. Always cracks me up to CJ tap. Oh, whatever, that's fine. Everyone types differently. Does the space have foam? Is it just a CF plate? Just straight through to the plate. That's it. Fingers on the space. Index finger spacebar is the master race, guys. I'll have you know. CF makes a fair bit of difference to the sound. It does. This is another CF spacebar. If you can hear this. Well, and the keys as well. Same key. There we go. It sounds broadly the same, but very much nicer on the other board than this one, but that's because it's the J-01, and I'm biased towards it. But I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that. And yeah, speaking of, if you do like carbon fibre plates, Alchemist KB, who's called Satanicist, if I can get my words out, on Discord, we are running a group buy. So if you have a plate file that you want, or if there's an open public plate file that you like amending and you want to order a plate, we are doing a group buy for carbon fibre plates for as low as $30 for a 60%, up to about $45, so $50 for a TKL or bigger, like a full size, about $50. So if you are interested, you have a plate file, or you know there's a public plate file that's open, and you would like to take part in that, group buy is open until the 29th. PM Alchemist KB or PM myself, and we'll send you the link to my Discord server. In fact, Alchemist KB can paste the link into the chat. That's my personal, private, non-Top Clack affiliated server, but we're just running that there as well. Tensor, yeah, if you have the plate file, or if you have an open source plate file, or if it's something we already have, yes, any plate that falls into one of those lists, and we'll make it fixed, and we'll tweak that plate to you so it can be fixed ISO, fixed ANSI, fix the bottom row, so you don't have to use a universal plate like this one or anything like that as well. So there you go. So if you are interested in that, please do join. We're not running it for massive profits or anything like that. It's mainly just because I had a ton of plates I wanted to order. Satanicist did as well, and we thought we'd try and open that out to everyone to try and make sure that people could use the plates that they wanted. So that's the Space65 build done. That's the self-shield from me done, which I very rarely do. We've talked about the Necros. You should go check out mykeyboard.eu. There's a reason why they're my sponsor today, because they're fantastic people. But now it's time to take a look at the J-02. So, for those that you don't know, and I'll show you this first, I designed and built the J-01, which is this board. This is the J-01, not the J-02. This is the J-01. This board, about 18 months ago, the prototype was built on Top Clack earlier on this year, and just ran a group buy for it as well. So those have all just recently shipped. So this is the J-01, and as you can see, it's got a nice pen rail here that's mag mounted. You can see there that it's held in place by magnets. Not sure how clear that is. Let me tilt it up. Which is quite nice and solidly in place. Nice thick brass middle on the base, nice wedge underneath that shows it off nice and neatly. So this is the J-01. Now, because the J-01 was so nice and it was exactly what I wanted from it, I also decided to try and expand the range into another keyboard layout that I like, and that's the 60%. So I do like a 60% keyboard, and renders of this board have been seen on Geekhack and Desthority and Reddit over the past couple of weeks. But this, guys, without much further ado, is the J-02. So I'm really happy with this, and I'm really happy to be sharing this with you. This is the J-02, 60%, excuse the fingerprints all over it. Again, brass pen rail, which will be held in place by magnets. I haven't put the magnets in yet, so it's all nicely open. You can see just on the inside that the brass middle does run all the way through, and if I take this out, you can see the brass header up here, the forehead acts as a weight for this too. So this will have, excuse me, straight 60 like this, wing keyless where you have the two blockers here, and then HHKB where the blockers are as well. They're the three top options that we're considering for this. There's the acoustic cutout here, carbon fibre plate will sit in the middle. All plates with the group buy will be carbon fibre, which will be the same as this plate, or they'll be fixed to your layout. There'll be a fixed ISO, a fixed ANSI one. The fixed ANSI one will offer slight tweaks in the space of split backspace, so you can do HHKB as well. And then the board's gasket mounted. So in here you can see that there is a ridge. That ridge there holds 3 different layers of gaskets, and also the plate as well. So the plate sits in there like so, and is held in place by gaskets. Board is centre USB mount, as you can see just here. That's the centre USB mount, and it does use a daughter board for that as well. So we'll be building it with that. You can see there that the USB is quite low, and it's quite nice and neat and tidy as well. Just trying to make sure that I've got that on stream. There we go. So very excited to build this next week on stream. Really impressed with the quality and the finish. The board looks great from a side angle as well. Here you can see that we've got this nice wedge base, flush floating top, side type design on the top, that brass band that runs all the way around the middle, which looks exquisite. The base is identical to the J-01's, in fact it's a smaller form factor and it's full of fingerprints, but it's just got the J logo in there, space for some bump-ons as standard, and then this wedge piece as well. Just 4 screws to hold this together. It's a weighty board, it's not light, it's pretty chunky, as I'm sure you can appreciate. That's got a lot of heft to it because of the brass. So yeah, that is the J-02, that is the prototype, that's the board we'll be building, that's the plate we'll be using. Due to a bit of miscommunication between myself and the PCB designer, the prototype PCB will only support full left shift, which is not my intention to offer on the board on the fixed plates unless it's requested. So I am going to have to modify this plate next week to turn it from split right shift into full right shift. So I'm going to take a Dremel to this and just tweak that naturally, but we'll get the PCBs fixed for the final run as well. That's what prototypes are for, right guys? Make mistakes fast, fail early, fail fast, and improve on rounds 2 and onwards. So that's the plan. We'll be building that next week. I do have some sample gaskets here. These are slightly different to the J-01 ones in the fact that they're black, but other than the fact they are is nitrile rubber in just the same way. So you'll have 3 layers of gaskets. One layer will sit over the top of the plate like so, just around the edges, and that will be against the top of the case. There'll be another one that sits all the way around the edge, which will be like that, just this part here, and then there'll be another one where the plate sits on top of it, so it'll be like so, just around here. And that's what will cause it to remain upright, and it'll be resting on a skirt all around the edge, because that is a very tight fit in there. I haven't taken it apart yet to take a look, but yeah, it'll be a very tight fit into the base. As well as that, while it sort of comes this is standard with the acoustic cutout in the middle, if anyone does like one, what I'll do is I'll arrange for an optional foam insert to be cut, so you can place a piece of foam there directly prior to building, just in case that's how you prefer your sound to be. But that's the J-02, guys. Very excited to show you that. Very excited to build it next week. Can't wait to do that. I hope everyone's okay with that. Let's catch up with chat and see what people say. What glue did you use for the Mac Apple on the Borsdorf? Super glue. Just super glue, it's fine. The J-02, yep, very cute, thank you, epic. I'm glad you all like it. I think it looks great, guys. Look at this, black and brass. What could be a worse look than black and brass? Super nice. Wish it was 65%. So the J-01's an expanded 65%. I don't intend to revisit that layout. Maybe at some point. We'll see. We'll see. 10 Strong says love that USB. Yeah, it's really nice tight USB. Is that the USB cutout is really nice and tight. You can see just on the internals there that it's actually really neat around an actual USB port. It's pretty much perfect from that perspective. Chad says under $400, pretty please. I have no idea on the price. I know how much the prototype cost me, and I've got some quotes for if I sold 50. What the rest depends on is vendors, talking with vendors, shipping, packaging costs, all of that kind of stuff, and how we roll that in together. The board itself might be around that kind of price. I'd like it to be, but shipping, packaging, that kind of stuff might push it a bit north of that as well. So we'll see. I can't make any promises on price at the minute, but we'll try and get it as low as possible. That's what I will say. I saw Return says PogChamp. There we go. So Jay is the CF plate guy and Bri is the POM plate guy. I like POM plates too. I just really like carbon fibre plates. I think they just sound great. It's just really warm in my office. Under these stream lights, it's really warm. My hands are a little bit greasy, fingerprints everywhere. It's easy to clean though. It's easy to clean. It won't accept all the 60% PCBs then? No, because it's very much a centered USB with a daughter board, so it needs the space for a normal. You'd have to snap the actual USB off a normal 65% to fit in there, and I'm not sure it would given the design, because the PCB has been designed to fit this exactly, so I'm not sure whether they would fit or not. XD75 plate, reasonable ask. If you have the plate file, or if we can find an open source plate file, then we can do a CF plate for you to reach out to us on the Discord. The protos need some love. Yeah, I've been caressing this for the past couple of days. Very excited to see that build next week, man. Me too. I'm really excited to build it. I'm a little bit bummed that I have to cut the plate a little bit to make the prototype work, but that's part of prototyping. And I'm a little bit bummed I couldn't do it this week, but the PCBs just weren't ready, and the gaskets just weren't ready either. But fingers crossed, next Sunday everything will be here and we'll be doing the build. So yeah. Alchemist could be really stoked at how it's turned out. Yeah, to be honest, the machining, the fitment, the quality on this is beyond my wildest expectations of a manufacturer. I'm very impressed with this. It's just exceptionally good. So yeah, I'm really excited to build it. I've just got a moth fly into the bedroom, into the office, sorry. So there we go. But okay, I think that's it for tonight. We've been streaming for about an hour and a half. We've done the Space65 build, which has been really nice. I think the board looks great. I hope you do too. I hope you guys liked the J-02 reveal as well. I'm dead excited to build this next week. Really psyched for that. I hope you guys are okay with the news I shared about Pingu and how UPass and I are going to run that group buy-in fulfillment if we can, and the challenges we're facing, but we'll be as open and honest as we can about that. Gouty with the resub, thank you very much for that 2 months, currently on a 1 month streak with a big heart. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to talk about, guys. So if you've got any questions, now's the time. If not, we'll be closing down the stream in a few minutes. Again, in terms of the J-02, we'll be run on mykeyboard.eu, so please go give those guys a visit. You can see them down here in the bottom corner. Please go give their website a view. They do all of the EU proxying for GMK sets and otherwise. And thank you very much again to Necro1 for the GMK9 set. Really appreciate that. J-02 next week, pending PCBs and gaskets. If not, it will be a month away, which is a real shame, but I'm away for 2 weekends after that, so this next weekend or bust, basically. Could we see the middle layer on the J-02? Yeah, sure, I can take it apart really quickly and show you. It's a big lump of a brassy boy, but we can show you really quickly. Let me just find a screwdriver that will undo it. One should work. In fact, that one won't, but maybe an actual screwdriver will. It will be Torx screws on the actual final board, not Phillips or Posi drive. I think these are Posi drive actually. It will be Torx screws on the final version. Okay. This is the first time it's actually been taken apart. I haven't actually done this yet. I was going to do it next week on stream for the first time, but might as well share this with you guys. Could have handled it better. Rest your voice. Yeah, I do need to rest my voice. Could we see the middle there? I want to see that brass upper portion. 200 bits from J-Shuff saying nice stream. Am I taking all the screws out? Yeah, okay. So now it should come apart. He says, there we go. So there you go, guys. You can see prototype. So these scratches and marks won't be here on the final version, but the brass base effectively sits on 4 pins around the edge. Those pins are then recessed into the base, so it all lines up nice and easily, and then this part should come apart as well, but effectively it's just one lump of brass. He says trying to get it apart. Very tight tolerances. Hopefully they won't be so tight for the group buy, but we'll fix that if they are. Again, this is why we prototype. I don't want to prize it too hard. Okay, this is going to be a struggle to get this out, guys, but you can see that this piece of brass is pretty chunky. Try not to damage anything here. As you can see, it's rather tight tolerances. Come on. I think we've just about got it. There we go. There you go. You can see that that's how the base and the top fit together. The 4 points that all lines up and doesn't move from that perspective. This is the brass middle, so you can see that the gasket rests on this layer here. Then you have the plate on top, and then another layer of gasket on top with another middle layer of gasket around the edge of the plate. Magnets mount into this point, this point, this point, and across here as well. These 4 pins hold everything in place, and that's where the weight is as well. So yeah, all looking really rather good. As I say, you can see some mill marks on here and stuff like that. That will all be gone because they're internal surfaces for the actual production, and all of these scratches on the back. It's just a test piece as well. So very much prototype materials in use here. So there you go, guys. That's what the build's going to look like. That's how the board's going to put together. Put this back together now. Very tight on these tolerances. Bits of dust in there. And then there we go. Board is now back together. So there we go, guys. That's the J-02. If there's any more questions, now's the time. Spudger. Holy hell. Time to bust out the budgers. Yeah, we got it. Socialite with 1,000 bits. Thank you very much. Bated breath. Oh my flipping heck. Yeah, we get there, guys. We get there. That's the first time I've taken it apart, so I wasn't expecting it to be quite so tight, but yeah, it looks really good. Fits better together. It's easier to put together than the J-01 was, so I'll give it that for nothing. So there we go. Jumper, we're just wrapping up now, I'm afraid. We're just about to go. I'm just putting the J-02 case back together, and then we'll be signing off the stream in about 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you very much for the bits, Socialite and Jay. Really appreciate those. They do keep the channel going, so thank you very much. Honestly, anything like that really is a bigger help than anyone can realise or appreciate. That 1,000 bits is down payment for my J-02. Well, that money goes to Brian as he owns the channel. So if you want to bribe me, I'll send you my PayPal details later on. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Right, let's put these back in here before we lose which ones are which. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Okay, guys. So I think that's the stream done for today. Zendrin says, bring it and yourself to Stockholm meet on the 19th of October. Sadly, I'm in Cyprus on the 19th of October. Otherwise, I would have loved to have come. Amir invited me the other day, and I would have loved to have attended, but sadly, I can't make it. Just wanted to see the J-02. Is everything okay? Yes, everything is okay. With the J-02, everything's looking really good from that perspective. So build stream next Sunday. What driver is that? It's a Xiaomi one. I think the Wire or Weir or something like that. It says on the outside of the case. Easily available on Amazon and anywhere else. Check the full teardown on the VOD. Yep, you'll be able to have a look at the VOD afterwards as well. No problemo. Sendrim, you should come to the UK meet on the 26th of October. I will find you a ticket from somewhere. If you would, if you'd like to, you're more than welcome to come to that. But right, that's it, guys. An hour and 43 minutes in, I'm losing my voice. I talked about the IDB60. We've built the Space65, which I think you'll admit looks really rather good with Tokyo Nights on it and the brass badge at the back. and we've had a look at the J-02 as well. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much for the show tonight, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. It was really, really pleasant. I really enjoyed doing that build for you guys. And I'll see you next week. Take care, guys. Bye bye.